Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody's having a lovely day. And with that being said, let's get into the TA. Alright guys, today's video is actually going to be a bit of a short one. So we're going to have the weekly update coming out tomorrow. We're going to talk a lot about the weekly charts and our outlook going into next week. We're going to give a sneak peek during this video, because everyone's on the edge of their feet, guys. What are we gonna be doing next week, huh? What's it gonna be? Well, I'm just gonna say right now, I am looking for a pullback into 518.22, this little demand zone down here. And if we can, it's the breakout zone, demand zone, support, whatever you freaking want to call it. I'm looking for a pullback into it, and from there, that presents the next long opportunity. Now, if buyers are not to step in there, where are we gonna look to, guys? We're just gonna, do a little something like that. And, as long as it's somewhere in here, I do think, hey, solid shot, we continue higher. This is a big breakout. I don't think it's just going to, it's going to result in like, spending 3 or 4 days above this little range we had over here. I think we're probably going to see a bigger move. QQ over here is kind of just doing a thing. You actually have a potential inverse head and shoulders formation going on here. That being a left shoulder, that being a head. And then if you pull back here, it happens like there. Well, here's your neckline, this zone. All right, so that's looking like that. IWM, you're pulling back. Watch the golden pocket over here, guys. But again, IWM like really is not looking too bad. You're just building up a range here, and if I had to guess, you're probably not going to break down from it. You're probably just going to be dancing around here for quite some time. All right, we're going to talk about some individual tickers going into next week. I got some setups that I'm looking for. Well, I'm looking for some action on these things next week. All right, so as far as these indices go, let's just include these with the smaller time frames here. So you saw that arrow. That is what I think is going to be the case. I was watching, for a lower high to be put in. You had QQQ. You literally came up here and stalled out right at, the previous low. So support turned resistance right there on QQQ. And then SPY over here, we were watching 523.03. But I can actually make it right over here, and it looks a little better right there. Okay, you do not have a bearish divergence over here on the hourly time frame. You did here on the 15-minute time frame. Typically, what I like to see is you have, right here, you would see a bearish one, and then you see a $5+ move to the downside. Did we get a $5+ move? We did not. So I do think we're going to continue lower. That's really all I was looking for today, guys. I wasn't really, too active today. Why? Because we're just looking for that pullback. There's nothing. You're not expecting anything up here. The action's going to be down here. So if you can get that, which I do think is likely, then that is where the next opportunity lies. Right here, this is just going to, chop up premium, stuff like that if you're trading the indices. All right, QQQ, you watch right over here. So taken from right here, this is the impulsive move that just went down. This is where you topped. This is where that started from. All right, golden pocket happens to align with this demand zone right down here. We actually can extend. Yeah, we could go a little something. You got a lot of action going on right there. All right, not so much going on right here. We're just going to have the level instead of having a zone right there. I think this is really where, if we come down, this is where the buy orders are going to be sitting. All right, you also have the golden pocket down here. So it's kind of picture perfect. I really like the setup. And if it were to come all the way back down here, well, this is where we have that inverse head and shoulders look. And then that would be the launch pad to go higher. So there's that. Now, we come over here to Mr. VIX, and I will point out, all right, it's not looking too bad. Really not. You did have this bullish divergence right here at the bottom. It marked the bottom, and you also had it here on the hourly time frame. So that is something that you could always keep in the back of your mind when you see these things pop up. We saw it pop up yesterday. And then you have the daily candlestick over here was a hammer candlestick yesterday, right? And if you don't want to refer to this as a hammer because there's a wick above, well, guys, it's a bullish candlestick. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Call it whatever you want. And I call these things pin bars, but I'm just going to call it for the sake of easiness here. Yeah, all right. It's a hammer candlestick. It's bullish. Now we have an indecision candlestick. This thing is looking like it wants to have a bounce, and if it has a bounce, the S&P is going to have a pullback. It's just typically how that goes. They have an inverse correlation to one another. And yeah, I do think that could be the case. That's that. But guys, into next week, just look on the pullback. Now let's talk about some individual setups over here. We're going to talk about some of the big boys. All right, Amazon. It's not look bad, guys. I told you guys, it peeped its head up here. You had like a really long range here, 3 weeks. I don't think this is it. I don't think this is all she wrote. I think you're going to continue higher. And that's that. All right, you come over here to Meta. It also looks like it's kind of going to be doing the same thing over here. All right, now you come over here to Apple. Apple died. But Apple's making a comeback here. And I think this potentially could just be a, you're just establishing your range here. I think you're probably going to hold the line here. Come back up here. We're going to have this, going on until we don't. All right, you were starting to get some really nice action. And then, boom. Guess what? Jeez Louise. Everyone hates Apple. That's what. All right. The big boys, they all hate Apple. So they're just going to torture it down here. Maybe they're just accumulating down here and then they're going to launch it eventually. That's, if I had to take a guess, that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, Goog, was a little better to us. It kind of just did what it had to do, and then it made it quick and painless. And then, boom, you got paid. Is Apple going to do that eventually? Yeah, it is. I don't know when that's going to be, but this could potentially be, I can't really call it a higher low compared to right here, but, if you're looking like this, could do something like that. You come up here and break, you're probably going a lot higher from here. All right, if you do manage to break above this high, around 179, then yeah, you're probably going to take a ride up here to 185, 190. All right, so Apple's not really looking too bad. You're just really building out that range down here, but at least we know the selling is starting to come to an end. We could have some, bouncy action going on soon. All right. Next one we're going to be talking about is Schwab. Schwab just broke out, guys. All right. So we're going to be watching the previous high over here, or buyers to step in over here on Mr. Schwab. So just thought I'd put it on your radar. There you go. If it does decide to pull all the way back down here to the golden pocket, well, what aligns with the golden pocket? Right here, where you broke out from, right over there. All right, so either or, we're paying attention to it. That's that. Next one, I just want to, had anybody on the back who rode this one up. We were saying a big move was loading here up to this golden pocket, 62 to 64 bucks. That's, really, that's where we were looking for. It's going. We also said there was a big move loading over here on ZOM. You finally got the weekly breakout right here. I remember telling you guys about it. I said I thought we finally were going to be getting something like this. You have like an 11% move. Well, what happened after you got the breakout here? An 8% move. I think you're still going higher. But yeah, just again, a little pat yourself on the back. Congratulations if you did end up playing that. You're in the golden pocket though, so watch for those sellers to be stepping in. You did have this inverse head and shoulders breakout right there, and you did have the falling wedge breakout on this candlestick right there. So congrats if you did end up playing that. Next one is going to be Pan W. Pan W, guys, is kind of basing down here. So you're putting in like a range here. I just want to put it on your radar. Okay, I don't know which way it's going to break, but I'm going to assume it's probably going to be up. But you have, either a bear flag here, but you're at this long-term trend line, so I assume it's probably going to end up, if it comes down, it's probably going to just have a bounce down there. So just an interesting kind of, chart we're looking at here. Now it's on your radar. Rivian, you're in a head and shoulders pattern, so that's something. If you are, interested in taking a look at that one, there you go. Rivian is looking nice and weak down there with the head and shoulders. That's a pretty sweet looking dude right there. There you go. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect, but there it is. All right. Next one we are going to be talking about is Upstart. Upstart, guys, you have a massive falling wedge going on here, and I do think it is wanting to break out. You have another one of these ranges here, and it's going to snap at some point. What is the next one we have for you? All right, we're talking BA. BA, guys, I am watching for a higher low to be put in. I think this thing is starting to get some signs of life here. You got this increase in volume, heavy green, wide-bodied candlestick. It's not looking too bad. All right, so Meta, or not Meta, BA. That's what we're watching. NVIDIA. Guys, I don't know how this is going to close until the end of the day. It's 3:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have 36 minutes. We're going to have to see. If it closes as a hammer here and somehow you have increasing volume, that is a really sexy and appealing look going into next week. And I would say that is easy. It's probably going to 1,000. That is the big psych number. Eventually, guys, it's going to be hit. I don't think it's going to have a massive pullback until that number is hit. I don't even think it's going to have a massive pullback, but I think that number is going to be hit. When that number gets hit, I do think it's going to drag along this little guy over here. It's a little brother. Now, I just want to point out that you have this, all right, on the hourly time frame, you have this like inverse head and shoulders look to it. Got that bullish divergence going on. You can see it right there. But then you come down here to extended hours and you put on the 4-hour time frame. And guys, if you break down under this, you're going to have a triple bullish divergence. Like, you don't spend this much time loading this spring, just coiling the bad boy up, the beast, without having like some explosions go off, all right? Like, look how much time you spent over here. Let's just like really compare. Okay, so we have been dancing around here quite some time, the whole 7 days. You know, normally you just kind of don't do that. And if you do it, you're gonna get one of these moves back up to like, you know, like that. There was a 10% move right there. I'm looking for the 10% move at some point from the low. That's gonna bring you up to like 190 to 200. All right, 190 to 195 right here. Now I think it's gonna be a bigger move than that, but like, yeah, this thing's just loading. I think it potentially could be next week, but ideally this thing just kind of stays down here as SPY pulls back to that 518.22 level, and then boom, they all go together. There's going to be panic in the streets. I'm gonna, you know, if AMD goes down for the triple bullish divergence, that is, you know, my next and final buy here into AMD. But I'm serious, guys. I do consider this like, it's kind of free money. I did, you know, I just looked at the April 19 cons. Like, that's what I'm going to go with if I get that chance. Underneath 174, which was the low from over here. It was, yeah, literally 174. So that's what I'm watching. If you can't sweep that low, you're going to get a really sweet deal. And it's going to be for April 19, $200 calls. And guys, if you just get up to 200, those calls get in the money, not next week, but the week after, it would be a 4x on your money. Let's just say you go up just to 190 and you're in the even 190C for April 19. Well, there's your 100%. You go up to 200. There's your, you know, it's really not looking too bad, guys. You know, this is what I consider a free money kind of play. Like, you know, Avgo was kind of just dancing around, and I kind of wish I just kept buying Avgo in the end. This thing exploded, and anybody who bought down here while this was down, like, I started buying over here, and I could have just held knowing, like, you know, I back tested the crap of this thing before, and I back tested as long as you buy 3 weeks on your contracts, you typically catch like $100 move. Well, I did. I caught the $100 move on the third to last day I had the contract. All right, or the second last, you know. All right, do you see what I see here? All right, like, they expired Friday and it's this day. I sold so early. I saw it and I was like, dude, this is what I was thinking last night. Holy Jesus. But that's what I'm saying. So, like, you know, you're getting this opportunity. People might be doubtful right now, but this is the same thing I was pointing out in Avgo. And yes, it took some time, but once it went, it went. And like, it really paid, and contracts really just pumped to the moon. I think that's going to be the case over here. You got NVIDIA looking pretty sweet over here. You finally did end up getting that breakout. Price actually doesn't get much better than this, guys. I mean, this is quite frankly, you know, these are my levels I was watching over on NVIDIA. Once you could break over 904, you're really, you're in the clear here for a test of this 924.5 level, which was the high of this candlestick. Once you got above there, guys, which that was right here at the golden pocket. Once you got above there, all right, you had nothing until this next level right here, which was the low of this candlestick. It was 946.20 right here. You stalled out right exactly there. Did you peep your head above the golden pocket there? The 0.786 pip, 947.78. Yes, you did. All right, so I'm just going to say I do think this thing's going to be going up. I don't know if it's going to pull back from here. Maybe it does. I'm going to take advantage of that if I get the chance, all right? If we get the opportunity to buy anywhere from 880, 885, all right, all the way up to, you know, I'm really going to say 920, honestly. I don't think this thing's going to pull back much, but yeah, the real opportunity is going to be if you can buy down here. All right, like the real clear as day opportunity is somewhere within here. And then because I do think you're going higher. Like, guys, if it closes out on the weekly here and you get a move down to start the week, that's going to form a hammer candlestick. If I'm just going to take a guess on that one. All right. And I would bet on that one. That's what I'm telling you guys right now. All right. So I was in NVIDIA. Now I'm not in NVIDIA. I look forward to maybe getting a chance to play in NVIDIA next week. But yeah, quite frankly, I think these two guys are going to go together because that's what they did last time. All right. So that's really that. Those are the setups that I'm paying attention to. Obviously, you do have Tesla over here. I've shared my thoughts on Tesla. But these are the ones that I think are really getting wound up to go next. SMCI, if you get the chance to buy in the golden pocket again, you see the 4-hour RSI oversold over here. I think it's going to present another opportunity. And anybody who did take advantage of this, literally had the bullish diverge right here. You would have seen it at the bottom of that. You know, your contracts you pumped. All right. Didn't matter really how much time you had on those. They pumped. SMC icons, they died just like Avgo, and they pumped. So, you know, chip sector, guys, I do think it's going to continue being hot. Like you got over here on MU. This was just the case. You got TSM over here. All right. It's really not looking too shabby. Just not. It's just not looking too bad. All right. Everything's not looking too bad to me. If we get the pullback, take advantage of the pullback. But, you know, well, you guys can do whatever you want. And with that being said, I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.